Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Custom Carving and Epoxy UK. I hope you're all doing well today. I'll be honest, I've been watching a few videos again from Daniel Cooper, and there's an experiment that he's done that I want to try with these jewellery molds, which I haven't tried yet, which is to do with washing up liquid and silicone oil. It's his most recent one. I've tried a few experiments with silicone oil already, but not tried anything with the washing up liquid. I know in his video he managed to get the effect he wanted with one, but only with one, and I'm just wondering if that's because that was the most recently poured, so I'm going to test that theory out. But before I do that, you may remember if you watched the last video, my Sinker White ran out of the Let's Resin alcohol ink pack, so this completely ran out. So what I'm going to do is just decant some of the larger one into this small needle tip bottle so that I can use it, and just to show you guys the process as well, and also to show you that on my Petri this is what I use, just the standard Sinker White from Let's Resin. So all you're going to need for this is a needle tip bottle. They come in like packs of 10 or 12 on Amazon for about £6, not an awful lot of money. Pardon me. So all I'm going to do is just take the lid off, just dead straightforward, take it off, and then I'm going to put one of these little I think they're 4mm ball bearings in there, just to shake up the pigment when I use it. And you are going to want one of these, otherwise the pigment you'll find will just settle at the bottom when you're trying to use it. So literally just one of these tiny little ball bearings. Going to place that in the bottle. There we go. And then before I add this Sinker White, it's really important that you mix it properly, and it actually does come with this funnel, which makes it a little bit easier, hopefully. He says this is where he probably gets it absolutely everywhere. And I've already pre-mixed my resin, so you won't have to see that, but this is how it comes in the larger format, 100ml, which should fill about 10 of these bottles essentially. But make sure you give it a really good shake so that pigment completely mixes around and you don't get any settled on the bottom. You want it all completely mixed in before you actually pour it. And I think that is the key. So if you see on the bottom there, that's where it tends to settle. I can still see a little bit in there. So again, just giving it a really good shake, hopefully getting that pigment off, because I want it to be a good mix. And I think there's actually a ball bearing in here. I can't remember if I put it in or if it came with the bottle. But you can hear it just rattling around, and that should be enough. And then just carefully going to pour this into the bottle, probably get it about 3/4 of the way full, to be honest. There we go, and that is my Sinker White ready to go. But yeah, dead straightforward process. Again, these are better value as well. I think they're about £18 and you get 100ml. So if you do Petri a lot like I do, it's well worth investing in. And what I might invest in is actually a larger needle tip bottle as well, because I think then I won't have to do it quite as often. And then just remember, if you mix things in like silicone oil and stuff like that, label them. This is just standard, so I'm not going to label it. And you can hear that ball bearing in there. Works perfectly, just mixing everything up. So there you go, that is my new white sinker. So I've already pre-mixed the resin, done about, I think it's about 2.5 ounces. Put it through the debubbling machine, and as you can see, there's virtually no bubbles in that, which is absolutely amazing. And what I thought it'd be fun to do as an experiment is do one side with standard washing up liquid and see if we get any effects. Again, this brand is just from Tesco, so it's a bit of a cheapo brand. Those of you in the States probably don't have a Tesco's, but it's basically a supermarket brand, essentially. So in this little cup at the side, I've put washing up liquid in there. And then in the one next to it, I'm just going to put some standard silicone oil. And we're going to see what effects we get. So I'm going to try and do these one at a time, because I think that might be where Daniel had the issue in his video. I'm not sure, but make sure you follow him as well, because he always does some really good, crazy experiments with resin. So I'm just going to pour one at a time. And make sure you leave enough room for your inks. And it is already starting to warm up actually a little bit, which is I wasn't expecting. But I'm going to go with a dark colour first, or darkish. And as I say, I'm just going to get some of these Let's Resin alcohol inks out. They're my favourites to use. Really, really good deep colours in the alcohol inks. And I'm not going to go crazy, but I am going to try and get 2 or 3 different colours in each and see what effects, if any, we can get using these. So I've also got a spare paper towel at the side just to wipe off my dipping stick every time I use it, so that I'm not mixing, hopefully, the washing up liquid with the silicone oil. But it should be an interesting experiment. I just want to see if, first of all, if I can get anything like the results that Daniel got in his, and if so, if I can replicate it in another piece as well. And then hopefully we'll have found out the solution as to why it doesn't work with multiple. But that was just my thought process when I saw that video. I could be completely wrong. So I'm just going to torch this now. Try and get rid of any of those surface bubbles, although it's pretty much bubble free because it's gone through the bubble removal machine. And then first one I'm going to start with, I think Daniel actually started with a sapphire blue. I'm going to start with a midnight blue just to be slightly different, and just put 1 drop in the center like that. And then I've got my little dotting tool here, and I'm just going to literally dip the end of that into this washing up liquid and see if it makes any effect. There we go. So that's pretty much spreading the way it did in Daniel's video. So far so good. Happy with that. Now I'm going to put a dot of the Sinker White on, and again just trying to get 1 in the center. Not quite central, so I am going to put another one in. I don't think it'll matter if there's 2 in there. So there we go. And then, if I remember from the video, he went straight back in with another dot. So I'm going to try that again. And it's the same problem, I think. It's not really. Oh, there we go. It's starting to spread now. And I think that's what we're looking for, that spreading effect. Now I'm going to go in with, what was this, blue. So I'm going to go in with a slightly brighter colour, which is the peach red I'm going to go for, which comes out really pink. Again, make sure you shake your alcohol inks when you use them. Just in the centre, that's perfect. And then I'm going to go back in again with the washing up liquid. In fact, I'm going to put a Sinker White on before I do the washing up liquid. Don't know why, I just think that'll make a bit of a different effect. Again, just trying to get 1 dot in the middle. And then in with the washing up liquid. And it is doing it, it's just a little bit slow, but you can see that ring move out. So far, this is looking pretty cool. I think next, again, I want to go with a light colour. So I'm going to go with, in fact, I'm going to go with cerulean, just because that's one of my favourite blues, and I think it will give us a contrasting effect. There we go, and it's really pushing it out. Back in with the washing up liquid again. And this does seem to be working. So on the first one, touch wood, although it starts to slow down a bit now, I think, the way it spreads. And that could be because of the weight of all of the different pigments. So I think this one for me is going to be the final one, and I'm just going to use a yellow in the centre. Again, trying to get it central. Unfortunately, inks aren't the easiest things to control. And then one final drop of this Sinker White, and make sure you shake it up between doing your drops as well. And in fact, for this one, I'm going to leave that as the final sort of background colour, so I'm not going to put the washing up liquid on it. And then see if it creates anything like the effect that Daniel got. So we'll see, but that one looks reasonably successful. So I'm going to do another one again with the same effect, but do a slightly different design this time, I think. So again, just pouring enough out for that one. And I'm going to start with a lighter colour first. So I'm going to go with yellow. And look at that closing up now. Really cool. So hopefully we'll get a cool effect. So just one drop in the centre. Then I'm going to go in with the washing up liquid. And that's already working. So far, it's looking pretty successful. Pretty happy with that. White Sinker, one drop in the middle. And then back in with the washing up liquid. In the centre. It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. There we go, that's now spreading. I'm going to go orange. Again, trying to keep it in the centre if you can. And then again with the washing up liquid. There we go, you can see that's already moving it out. One drop of the Sinker White again in the middle, if I can get it in the middle. I don't want to overdo it with these colours, but I do want to get a few in there just to see what kind of effect we get. As you can see, it took its time again then. I think once you get past sort of 2 or 3 layers, it starts to struggle a little bit. So I'm going to go red in the centre of this. Which one am I going to use? I'm going to use this Sagilite. And then I think just one drop of the Sinker White in the middle. And we'll see what that looks like at the end. I don't think it needs another bit of the washing up liquid. There we go. And I'm not going to stir these either. I just want to see the different effects. So that's those two done. Next I'm going to do these two. Just so I've definitely got 2 different ones to completely compare. So again, I'm going to do it one at a time. And this one, instead of using the washing up liquid, I'm going to be using the silicone oil just to see what different effect we get. But so far I'm happy with those. They seem to have worked. So this one, I'm going to go with some darker colours again because I think they came out really cool. So I'm going to go with a dark pear indigo. And again, just trying to get one dot in that centre. And then I'm going to go in, I've just wiped them up my tool as well, with the silicone oil this time. And you can see it has a very similar effect. But I just want to see at the end of this if we get any different results or not. But I'm quite excited at the minute because so far, they all seem to be working. Again, one drop of that Sinker White. Give it a second spread. It seems to take a little bit longer actually to spread. with the silicone oil. So again, just one dot in the middle, and you'll see that should spread it all the way to the side, but it seems to have stopped working actually, the silicone oil. Oh no, it's spreading. It's just taking its time. So that was dark indigo. I want a lighter colour next. I'm going to go in with a yellow green. And you see, it really doesn't like to spread now because of the amount of silicone oil in there. It takes a second to spread out, so just give it a chance. And again, just one more drop of silicone oil on the top of that. And then one drop of the Sinker White. And this one's really created a weird effect over here. So I'm intrigued to see what that looks like once we're done. And it's almost got that translucent effect, but I actually think that'll look quite cool. So I'm not going to change that. However these come out is how they're going to come out. And then I think I'm going to go in with a purplish red on this one as the final backdrop colour. And then just one more drop of Sinker White on there, and I think that one is done. But again, hopefully we'll get a slightly different effect on that one. I'm going to do this one next to it now. So again, just filling it up almost to the top, but still leaving room for the inks. And again, I'm going to do this one in silicone oil just so we know which ones are which. So I've got, let's do a combination actually. I've got emerald green here, which I don't use an awful lot, so it'd be interesting to see. A drop of silicone oil. A drop of the Sinker White. As you can see, the silicone just delays it spreading out a little bit, but it does get there. And sometimes you just have to be a little bit patient, which unfortunately I'm not. So I'm going to put a blue on top of this. There we go, that's spreading really nicely. Then in with the silicone oil again, just a dab in the middle. Then I think I'm going to finish this one off with a yellow as well, because I really like yellow centres. I think they really stand out. But one more drop of the Sinker White. I'm actually losing count of how many layers I'm doing here as well, but we'll see what they come out like at the end. So again, just trying to get it as central as possible. And then in with a yellow. I give it 2 yellows actually, just to give it enough strength to sort of break and cover the whole piece. And then I'm not on this one, I don't think I'm going to do that final dot of silicone oil. Again, just so that hopefully it creates almost like that circle in the middle. And that'll be the final drop of the alcohol ink on that one. So now I'm going to go back to these and try a few more with the washing up liquid and see if they're still working or not, because that's the question I've got really. So I'm going to try these deeper round ones because I love these. I'm going to try and do 2 at a time this time. Be a bit adventurous. Otherwise this will be a 1-hour video. And again, the resin will be warming up anyway whilst it's in that cup. So I think even if I try 2 at a time, we should be okay if it's anything to do with temperatures or anything like that. Just trying to get them filled roughly to the same level like that. And then, what am I going to go with this time? Let's try black actually. And that'll give us hopefully sort of a bit of a grey ring, which will look pretty cool. So black on that one. Peach red on this one. And then washing up liquid in the center. And yes, it's still working, so it's doing something. Although the peach red one isn't. It's going off. Try another dab. Oh, it is now. So, yep, it is still working. Dot of the Sinker White. Again, getting a slightly different effect there. I don't know if there might have been a tiny bit of the silicone oil still on there. But again, we'll see what they turn out like. Come on. Yeah, that one seems to have stopped working now. We'll persist and see what happens. I'm going to go in center with this lemon yellow. And then another drop of the Sinker White. And then washing up liquid again in the center. If I can get it, that's a little bit much on the end of there. You don't want too much. You just want the tiniest dot. And that, weirdly, seems to have stopped. So we seem to be having a similar issue. Don't know why. I'm going to go back to doing 1 at a time in a minute with the rest of the resin, but I'm going to persist with these. So maybe you do have a very short window of working with it. Don't know. Let's try a bit of the silicone oil in these now the washing up liquid seems to have stopped. Now that's working. So these two will be a combination, I suppose, of the two. Drop of the Sinker White. Let's go with an orange center on these. And then I'm just going to put a drop of Sinker White on and leave those. But again, you can see how the colours are mixing. I think we're going to get some cool effects regardless. So that's those. And then on this side, 2 more with the silicone oil, just the silicone. And then I think the rest of these I'm just going to have a complete play around. So Midnight Blue. And let's get magenta on the other one. Again, it comes out quite pink. And then silicone oil in the center. Silicone oil in the center. Let that spread. A sinker white. And a sinker white. That was a dark magenta, which didn't quite go in the center. So I am going to add another drop of that, just because otherwise we're going to get a very unbalanced piece. And what haven't I used yet? Let's go with a sapphire blue. And again, I'm going to go in with the silicone oil. That's giving a really cool effect now. Look at that. I don't want to ruin that now. But no, let's persist. Just hoping that doesn't ruin all of that effect. And then I'm just going to go in again with lemon yellow. I think I might, no, in fact I'm going to go yellow because I want these to be quite deep in colour. And then one drop of the sinker white in the centre of each of those, and then they're done. And again, I'm not going to stir any of these because I actually want to see what pattern we get. I'm going to go in with these hearts now, I think. And this time I'm going to try and be a little bit different. I'm going to try and go in with the sinker white first. Just see if that gives us a bit of a white edge. And what, if any, difference that makes to the pattern. There we go. So that's the sinker white. And try not to knock your inks off. Luckily the lid was on, that's why you always put your lids back on. And again, back to the washing up liquid this time. And it does seem to still be working, if you look at that. So I'm happy with that. So Daniel, if you're watching this video, if you pour it as you go, rather than pouring them all at once, it seems to work. I'm just going to go with two different colours and try and layer them for these. So sapphire blue, I think. So that's in there. Again, back in with the washing up liquid. That was a bit much. It does seem to slow down though, depending on how many layers you're doing. It does seem to actually slow down how quickly it contracts. What goes well with blue? Purplish red. I'm going to try and get these two similar. Actually see if we can get a similar effect. And then I'm going to go in with a different blue. Again, washing up liquid first. And again, just try not to put too much in. But it is still doing it, it's just a bit slower, if you can see. Another layer of the Cinco white. And then I want a bit of brightness, so I'm going to try and get 2 more layers in these. I'm going to try and go in straight away before the washing up liquid and add a peach red to the surface. And now go back in with the washing up liquid and then put a center in. I don't know if this will work now because it's got almost those 2 layers. It's having a think. There we go, it's still doing it. Happy with that. And then I'm going to go again with a bright sort of yellow center, I think. And then just put 1 more drop of the Cinco white on and see what happens with those. But hopefully we're going to get some cool effects. They're not quite the same effects that Daniel got in his video. But I think with experiments like this, you're never going to get the same result. I could probably do exactly the same experiment 10 times over and get completely different results every time, but that's part of the fun. So I'm just going to go in with these hearts over here as well. But, as I say, it seems to be working, pouring directly from the cup and then doing them 1 at a time or 2 at a time. So Daniel, if you are watching this, maybe try that on your next one and see if it works for you as well. But thank you for the inspiration. As always, it's been great to watch your video and get a bit of inspiration from it. So I'm gonna, again, try and make these 2 quite similar. So that was the dark indigo. Don't know, does purple and green go together? I think it does. Silicone oil first. And I might try a double layer of colour before the white sinker here. Yes, I am. And hopefully it'll push all of that colour out. As you can see, it almost settles into that silicone oil at the start and then it spreads. And I think we might actually get a completely different effect if we just do 1 or 2 dots of colour. So I'm going to try that as well in a second. Just 1 drop of that Cinco white in the centre. As you can see, it's creating a really cool effect here, and it's almost a shame to go in with another layer, but I want to. But I'm loving these effects, and I'm just hoping we get a good effect on the other side as well. Where's my yellow green? In fact, no, I want a bit brighter first. I'm going to go in with a magenta. As you can see, it almost falls off the silicone, look. Then I'm going to do 1 more drop of the silicone oil, and then I'm going to go for a centre, I think. So 1 drop just there, and 1 drop just there. And it doesn't seem to be spreading as well now, but we'll keep on persisting. I think sometimes you just need to make sure you've got the right amount in. And then I'm going to put just a drop of Sinker White on those, and I think they're done. But I want to try a few more with this washing up liquid and see what, if any, effects I can get with that over here. So I'm going to do another circle. And I want to try just a couple of layers of colour on this one first. Yeah, and I'm going to do 2 at a time. And that one that looked quite transparent is now closed in, so give them chance to actually move. I want to go with almost a flame effect here. So I actually want the darkest colour on the outside I'm going to try. So I'm going to try this Sagittite. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get these almost matching. Then I'm going to go back in with washing up liquid again. But as you can see, I'm still getting that effect, and we're what, 10 pieces in now? So happy about that at least. Now I'm going to go in with a colour first. So I'm going to go in with a yellow, and then I'm going to do my Sinker White. And I might even just leave these at that. Because look, it is creating a really cool effect. Again, the washing up liquid just in that middle, like that. And then in with my Sinker White. That's had 2 drops, so that one can have 2 as well, just to make sure they're the same. And then I'm going to do the washing up liquid again, and then 1 more drop of colour, I think. And it is struggling a little bit with the Sinker White now. So I am going to put 1 last drop of colour in that, and then leave those and see what they come out like. And then I've still got some resin left. So let's fill these 2 as well. And these 2, I'm going to try a bit of both. So I'm going to try the washing up liquid first. And then the silicone oil. And what should happen there is I think the silicone oil pushes everything out a little bit further. Let's go with the standard blue. And washing up liquid for the first layer. And either way, I'm hoping, looking at the backs of these, that we're going to get some really interesting results just from playing around with this. So again, thanks for the inspiration, Daniel Cooper. And if you've not already followed him, make sure you follow him. Make sure as well, if you've got 2 seconds, just do me a favour, like and subscribe to the channel. The more people that like and subscribe, the more of this kind of content we can keep making. But I'm really enjoying these experiments, just playing with the different techniques and seeing what we get. So again, that was just the washing up liquid. I'm going to do 1 more with the washing up liquid like that. And then go in with the purplish red. And then I'm going to try a drop of the silicone oil after we've already done those 2 layers with the washing up liquid. Or am I? Looking at that, that looks really cool. No, I'm going to leave those because I quite like that. Just to see what they come out like. If you look at sort of around the edge, it's got a cool little pattern. No, I'm not. I'm going to go in because I wanted these to be the 2 different. So they've had the washing up liquid. Now I'm just going to put a drop of the silicone oil in. 1 drop. And then I'm going to do 1 more drop of the Sinker White. And you can see where it actually almost slides off the silicone oil. And then I'm going to leave those. I think that's enough for those. And I still think I've got a tiny bit of resin left. So let's go back over here and do these ones. And again, I'm just going to use the washing up liquid method on these. Trying to do 2 at a time so it makes the video a little bit quicker. And if I get a nice effect in these, I'm going to stop and just let it cure and see what happens. So I've done greens, I've done blues, I've done oranges, I've done reds. So running out of colour options really. Let's do sapphire blue. Just going to try and do a couple of different shades of the blue on this one. So that is the sapphire blue. Washing up liquid in the centre. And that is spreading out. It's not spreading as much though now, so maybe there is a time limit. Don't know. Let's put in a drop of the Sinker White. And let that just push out to the side. Back in with the washing up liquid. As you can see, it's starting to not want to shift it as much now. And I think after you've done the first couple of layers, I think it's because it's got more stuff that it has to sort of push out with, but it is still doing it if you look there. Let's go in with a different blue then. Let's go in with cerulean. Then I'm going to go straight on with the Sinker White and then do the washing up liquid. And see what happens. But don't forget, if you're liking the content as well, please like and subscribe to the channel. Makes a huge difference. And they seem to have stopped moving now. So after like 3 layers now, it's starting to stop that movement. I'm going to try and encourage these 2 with a bit of silicone oil. And that's still got the strength to push them out. And then for a final colour in the middle, what we got here? I'm going to go turquoise actually, because I don't think I've used it. In fact, no, I'm going to go with a darker blue again. Just in that centre. And see what effect we get with that. And then just a drop of the Sinker White. And I'm hoping that we get some really mixed effects, because from the back, these all look very different already. And I've got a tiny bit left. Let's do these two here, and then hopefully I can get a couple of rings. They always take the tiniest bit. I always struggle filling those. Maybe I should use a pipette. Literally a few drops and they are full. In fact, I am going to grab a pipette in a minute. I'm just going to fill these squares as well. In fact, I don't want to do that in case that affects it. There's those pipettes when you need them. In fact, have I got some kitchen towel? I have. So I just want to take some of that excess out that I've accidentally poured in. Hopefully it'll still work. Right, I don't think I'm going to get much more than a drop in these. So it's what colour do I want them to be? I want them to be a reddish colour. Have I got any in here that I've not used yet? I've got purple, got coffee, but I'm not a fan of that. Got brown, again, not my favourite colour. And then just a standard green. I'll tell you what, let's go with green and blue if I can get it in. It'd be interesting to see if it works in these smaller ones as well. So that's just green. I don't think, to be honest, it will, because they're so small. Washing up liquid in the centre. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work on these. I think they're too small. So, drop a sink of white, drop a sink of white, and then I'm going to just put a tiniest smidgen of silicone oil on both of those, just so that I can get another colour in there. And I'm going to go with a blue. I think that's enough for those because they are really too shallow, I think, for this to work. Let's go with these squares. And again, these are probably one of my least favourites to fill. And you can see the resin is thickening up now because it's been a while since we originally poured. So it'd be interesting to see if that has an effect on this working or not with the washing up liquid. Again, they're one of my least favourites to fill, and it's just because they don't like to go around the whole mould. I don't know if anybody else finds that with these. Especially when your resin started to thicken up, sometimes you just have to spread it out like that. So, and I think these are going to be my last two. So again, I'm going to try and get some bright colours, and I think the effects that I've really liked so far is when I've done dark and then bright. So let's go in with this purple. Again, these are a slightly different depth as well to the rest of the ones that I've done. These squares, they're slightly shallower. In with the washing up liquid. And it is still working, just not as much. So again, a drop. And then in with the washing up liquid again. As you can see, one layer now and it's stopped. I do want to push these out, so I am going to use silicone oil. And then I'm going to do literally one more drop in the center. Then on top of that with the sinker. One more drop of silicone. And then I'm hoping it'll create a bit of a space for a bright yellow in the center. But even the silicone, I think because it's got to this thick stage now, it's really struggling to break it apart. So I'm going to go in with a yellow as a final colour, because it's always a safe one. And there we go. Apart from that, I'm just going to leave these for sort of 24 hours and see what effect we get. I have got a snail mould here and my teddy bear mould, so I'm going to fill my teddy up as well. So why not? Let's have a play with him whilst I've got some spare resin. And see if we get a cool effect. But as you can see, it's really starting to get thicker now. So you have got a limited sort of time, I think, to do this and to get any kind of effect. And I think that's what slowed on those last two, especially the washing up liquid, down. But this should hopefully just be enough to fill this mould. And if you've watched the channel, you know I hate wasting any resin. I've got a couple of tiny bubbles in here, and I think that's just because of the fact I've let this resin thicken up. But again, I don't think that'll matter too much in the end result. In fact, I am going to try and get that one out just in his nose. Because if I get a really good effect, the last thing I want is an air bubble. Right, there we go. That is every last drop of resin used. Just going to try and tease that bubble out because it's really going to annoy me. It stays in, and there's one just there as well. There we go. And again, I'm just going to do a random mix of colours for this one. Like that. Pinky purpley head, I think. Slightly different shades. And then I'm going to try a drop of the silicone oil. And then I'm going to put another layer on, just to see again if it creates a cool effect. I don't think the washing up liquid will work at this point. And I'm right. But the silicone oil still should, I think, because it's slightly stronger. You can just see it push it out. I'm going to do another drop just in the head, like that. And nothing else, just to sort of mix the colours around a bit more. And then put a few drops of this Sinker White in. And see if we get any kind of sort of Petri effect in it. But there we go, that's that. And then we'll come back for the demold tomorrow. Really excited about how some of these pieces are already looking. Just to see if we get any kind of different sort of textures to what we've had before. Let me know in the comments what you think, and we'll come back and we will demold these in about 24 hours. I'll see you then.
Good morning guys, and we're back and it is time for demold, and I'm excited for this one. Just to see if we've got any cool effects from using that washing up liquid technique as well as the silicone oil technique. So it's probably going to be a bit of a long demold because we've got quite a few pieces to go through. So do me a favour, before we do that, just click that button, like and subscribe. So here we go, exciting times. Always make sure you've got a coffee at demold as well. And I think I'm going to start with this bear that we did. Just have a look and see what kind of effects I've got with him. And again, he's turned out really cool. You can actually see the Petrie coming through in the background as well. So yeah, really cool little bear there. And interestingly, I've got some new bear molds come through actually. So I'm going to do a video on that next. But these are the pieces that I'm really hoping we've got some effects with. So this side is mainly the silicone oil. So we're going to go through this side first, and then we're going to have a look at the washing up liquid. And you'll have to excuse me, I think I've got a bit of a cold coming on, but there we go. So my voice is probably slightly different. Wow. Look at that. It's like a colour explosion, that. And you can still see the Petrie coming through in that centre bit. So really like that. So far so good. Wow. Again, absolutely stunning. I think it's like little, almost like planets to me, these round ones. And you can just see sort of the rings of colour on the edge. Where the silicone oil's pushed it aside, and then I've got mainly yellow in the centre, but again, lovely piece. This one, not as good I don't think, although we've still got a cool effect. You can just see a few spores at the side there from the Petrie. But not as keen on that one. There's more of a white look to that one. Wow. I love that in the heart. Again, you can just see it's almost rings of colour. And then we've got this weird effect with the Sinker white as well. So yeah, absolutely love that. I'm glad I went back in and just put that dot of yellow in though to give it a bit of depth in colour. Really nice piece again. And again, this one almost matching. I don't know where we've got the sparkle from, to be honest, because I didn't put any chameleon powder, alcohol inks or anything like that in, but we've got a bit of sparkle still. But again, lovely piece, that heart. And I think it's something, it looks so different. Let's go for these big ones. Let's go for this green one for, wow. Look at that. Again, I think that's going to look stunning as a pendant. It's just something that's so different. And actually, there's not a lot of silicone oil to wipe off, which is a little bit strange because I was expecting more. And wow, look at that. Again, absolutely stunning. Those greens going into those pinks with a few of these spores around the edges. It's something that is a little bit different to the standard Petrie, even with the silicone oil, the way that we've done it to get those sort of rings of colour. But I do really like them. So that's the standard ones with the silicone oil. Now these are the ones that I'm really interested in, which is the ones where we predominantly use the washing up liquid. I'm going to start off with these squares. And again, that is stunning. Just look at that. That is like a space nebula in a pendant to me. Absolutely gorgeous. This one, there's a bit of muddying. I think it's that peach red. Every time I use it with some darker colour, it seems to muddy. So I'm going to have to watch that, I think, going forward. It's still a nice piece, don't get me wrong, but clearly muddying in that one. Let's go with these little circles. And again, these were tiny. But again, it's got a really cool effect. I quite like those. Just with those spores coming through to the top. And let's go for these circles. Wow. That's got some real depth in the spores, look at that. And really kept that colour. But I absolutely love that. Just the depth in those spores in the centre, look at that. It's like a little world. This is that other circle. Again, I've got that depth with some of the spores. I think it creates such a cool effect. It's like a whole new world in there. But again, absolutely stunning piece. Let's go to these blue ones at the top. Wow. Again, look at those spores. They're not blobbing, but they are definitely extended. Really cool. And that one's more like I suppose a coral seabed, I would say, on the ocean floor. But absolutely loving these. Definitely not a failure this time, but these are the ones that I'm really excited for because I think we'll get some really cool effects. And again, that one as well, and just that depth in the Petrie effect that's gone through there. Not got the same effects that Daniel had on his yet, so it just shows that whenever you do this, you're probably going to get a completely unique effect. I mean, look at that. Now that one, they have actually touched the surface, so they've gone a little bit too far with the spores, but I still love the depth and the different colours in it. Stunning. And that one as well, look at that. Just all of those different colours, the different spores. Stunning. Let's say it's not the same effect that Daniel Cooper managed to get, so it just shows you. You try this, you're probably going to get something that's completely unique and your own effects. Again, look at that. And on the edge, you can just see that effect, a bit like what Daniel got in the purple on these. And again, a little bit of muddying in the front. It's that peach red, so I'm going to be careful with what I use that with going forward, and maybe just use it on its own because it's the colour that seems to muddy the most. But actually, it goes in orangey hue, which I don't think is a bad colour. I quite like it. And again, you can see there, those little spores coming through at the side, a bit like when I just did the Petrie with the silicone oil effect. So really like those. And then the last two, I think this one is going to be the best. So I'm going to save that one till last and do this one first. Wow. Look at that. Now that is like a galaxy. And that spore there in the centre, just the centre one, has come all the way to the top and created that blob in the middle. But again, lovely effect. Lovely patterns, love that colour blending there, even in the middle. It's just a shame if that's blobbed, or maybe it isn't. Maybe it looks more like an eye like that, I don't know. But again, really cool effect. It's like a whole little world in there, and then the way that it's pushed the colours to the side again for the spores to climb up the side, I really like. So yeah, really happy with that. And then the last one. Hopefully this is the best. Wow, hey, that's crazy. Look at that. And it is almost like an eye in the centre. If I hadn't have put that extra blob in at the end, we wouldn't have had that blob in the middle. But I quite like that. I think it further emphasises the effect. And I love these spores. Just growing at the sides a little bit more. So again, not the same effect Daniel got on his, but again, thanks for the inspiration. I've really enjoyed playing with this experiment and getting some different designs and techniques in there. So thank you, Daniel Cooper, for the idea. Make sure you try it yourself as well and see what effects you get, you know, because I think everybody that does this is going to get a completely different effect. The great thing is, I think this time round, is I managed to get it working pretty much all the way through the video with the washing up liquid, and I know Daniel had a few issues with that, and that was by pouring it from the cup each time rather than pouring it all at once. So that's been great to see that that can work. But if you've liked the content, do me a favour, click that tab, like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.